Okay. Well, hi. My name is Amanda Jacobson. I am from the podcast called Wine and Crime, and you are listening to Two Poor Bastards with Eric and Kyle.
Two Poor Bastards contains explicit content and drunken ramblings. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to Two Poor Bastards, where two friends get drunk, talk whiskey, and their favorite pop culture obsessions. This is Eric.
And this is Kyle.
All right, we are live and back for another episode here live Night Ride. Obviously, we have Mr. North Innsbruck with us.
What's up, gentlemen? Hey,
So
That was some good projection.
I'm practicing. You asked specifically.
Thank
Talk
you,
a little
buddy.
louder.
Good
I
job.
gotcha. Thank you.
So we had a different guest lined up, but things happen. So Chris,
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So there's some things happening. So this is a pretty fantastic thing recap that we'll have this episode. We are drinking a Whistle Pig Rye store pick today, which
two store picks. Unless the other one was just sitting out for fun.
No. We'll do a compare and contrast. So this is a store pick from a different liquor store. It is MGP Rye. It's a 95% mash bill. And we're going to go head to head with another store pick from a different place and get a taste for that. So that's going to be something we're going to be doing. And I've, like, do you see that bottle? No one obviously could see what I'm talking about, but, like, I took just a sip out of that bottle.
Just the sip.
Just the
Tiniest.
sip.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I had to try just a little bit.
All right.
Anyways, so I've had this bottle for like 2 weeks. So the fact that I haven't like cracked into this,
It would have been long gone if I had it.
It's nothing short of a miracle, actually.
yeah, because it is really good. So as always, please follow us on all the social medias. We are on every conceivable podcast thing possible now. I think we're on Spotify now officially, so that's really cool. I guess one of the lessons I've learned is that we have to stay in SoundCloud because apparently there's a lot of people that prefer us on SoundCloud, which is awful.
Well, I mean, being the aspiring rapper that I am, we better be on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Well, you got the look going, Kyle.
No.
That's for sure.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you take that back.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
well, I mean, you
I don't
are.
have any face tattoos yet. Come on.
Yeah.
Not yet,
We're
yeah.
working on it, though.
Yeah.
We're going to get you one of those soon,
I mean, once we get synth hop on the roll,
right?
Face
Yeah.
tattoos.
Yeah.
face
I'm gonna
tattoos
get
are next.
Whiskey above my right eyebrow, maybe.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, can we do it?
That'd be
Whiskey
pretty dope.
teardrops.
But like
Yes.
in really bad cursive.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
jailhouse cursive.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I like it.
be beautiful.
That'd be a good look for you, Kyle.
At work, somebody got a fax in for an order, and they gave it to somebody else to do because they couldn't read it because it was in cursive.
Oh, come on. What?
And these people are older than I am, so it's not a generational thing. This is like,
Well, my first question was, are they like, what, 20, 19? No, not
I
even.
would say
Like,
40-ish.
say, I'm assuming
Like,
they.
I
hear they
can't
don't-
read this.
I hear they don't teach that in schools anymore. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I haven't really been in a school. It's
'cause
Yeah,
you're
it's
old.
been a while since I've
yeah,
gone.
exactly.
Yeah. So let's get into the whisk first because I am super excited about
Okay,
this.
head to head, two things that are basically the same,
but different.
but taste different, perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so both of these from MGP, which is a distillery in Indiana. Like Eric said, 95% rye mash bill. The rest is going to be your corn and malted barley. Age-wise, I know one's 13 years old. We don't know what the other one is. 110.4 proof on one, 116 on the other.
Yeah. It's extra spicy.
Nice.
So similar stuff, but like you said, they're store picks, so they have a little bit different taste. Let's get into this shit right now.
So while Kyle's pouring,
Okay,
I'll get into a little bit of
Which one should I do first?
the new one first.
The new one first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, MGP for the most part has been a producer, but didn't make any brands themselves. So I think the last time I had heard, they were making juice for over 200 brands of whiskey.
Wow.
So
That's pretty good.
What happens is that you are going to start a whiskey, and the problem with whiskey is it takes, well, I guess 2 years or 12 months to some people, but typically a good age point is like 6 years for a whiskey. So these non-producer distillers or non-producer labels, they source their barrels. Now, some places are better than others at getting the good stuff. So MGP is one of those particular things. And what I learned about MGP is that they actually provide like agricultural products for the most part before they bought the distillery in Indiana, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it used to be the old Seagram's
Yep.
distillery.
So that's where we have Whistle Pig. Whistle Pig is, they've basically said straight out that they source their stuff while they're aging their own good stuff. These store picks are interesting because instead of sourcing it from Canada, which was their regular 10-year rye,
Right.
they're sourcing it from MGP. MGP is known for their rye whiskeys, and their most popular is the 95% rye mash bill, which apparently is.
That's their only mash bill for rye, though.
I just read that they've got they're offering new mash bills for
Okay,
rye.
so that has just recently changed then.
So that's their most popular, and they're most known for this particular product, which is really good.
Yeah, and I would say the most, the one you're going to see out there the most that uses this is like Bullet's rye. Like if you've had Bullet rye, then you kind of know the flavor profile, the spicy, pickly, eucalyptus-y, menthol-y.
And that's basically an
All right.
inside joke for whiskey aficionados. Basically the pickle taste from
Pickle.
pickle.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of polarizing too because some people really like the pickle juice rye,
All right.
me being one of
Yeah,
them.
me too.
And some people absolutely do not like it and hate that it's getting, to be so out there in the market. And
Yeah, what I've read was that Old Scout started pulling back producing some of their ryes because it was so popular, the MGP stuff, that they're having to reformulate their mash bills to get it to taste more like MGP stuff, apparently. I read this on the internet, so it's probably just a bunch of lies.
wait, what?
But everything on the internet's not
So
true. Is that what
Smooth
you're saying?
Ambler,
Smooth
their
Ambler.
old Scout stuff is stuff that they sourced from MGP, and they have to reformulate it to
No.
taste like.
They're gonna start making their own.
Oh, so they're producing their own rye, and the stuff
Yeah.
that they're making, they want it to taste like that
Yes.
because it's so popular. That makes sense. I would like it to taste that way.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is my favorite rye.
So Smooth Ambler's big game, what they talk about is that, so they openly talk about that they source pretty much everything, but their science is how they blend and mix things and age things. That's how they put their stamp, their Smooth Ambler, whatever, but their particular spin on what they're getting in so that it's different. So yeah, they're talking about having to reformulate their mash bill to get it closer to MGP because that's what they're known for is MGP
Right.
flavor.
Huh. All right.
All right, so let's sniff
Yeah.
Get into this.
I'm
Enough-
excited.
Enough of this talking
Yeah.
bullshit. Let's drink
I know.
this.
I've been waiting a while for this now.
Smells a little musty. It didn't at first, but once it's been sitting here while we were yakking, that came out a little bit. Dark chocolate,
Oh yeah, a little bit,
bacon spice.
little yuki.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Would I be able to smell the pickle on this? That's what I keep sniffing for now is pickles. Pickle juice.
You don't really, yeah, it's not the smell that's
in
going
the
to come
flavor
through
there,
on
huh?
this
If you
stuff.
blow into your glass a little bit, and then now do a little sniff, you get rid of some of the evaporation,
All right.
and then
Yeah.
you can get a little bit of the eucalypty, pickly kind of thing. All right, drinking.
Get the eucalyptus. Yep. That's really good, man. Wow. I'm gonna
Spoken like a pro.
right exactly. I have 3 words to describe it.
Your eloquence.
That's really
is
good.
unrivaled.
I have a way with words. Well, as you guys know, I'm running low on words today after the way I woke up today. But this is exactly what I needed, so I'm glad to be here today.
Oh, this is. I mean, it gets better at the finishes.
Yeah, it definitely gets more complex the longer the finish goes on. right away, I kind of got a little bit of raisin up front. That was like the first thing I got, which is weird because I've never got that from any of the MGP ryes before, no matter where they came, which, who bottled it, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's for being hot. So this is basically barrel proof, right? I would say barrel proof.
Pretty much.
So it's 116 proof, which is 58% alcohol. So it's pretty high alcohol content, but it doesn't burn. Like it doesn't.
No, it's a
that's a
little
good point.
spicy, but I'm really not getting any of the pickle stuff that I normally get from an MGP rye either in this one.
One thing I notice when I'm usually having a pour with you guys here is that everything's really pretty peppery, and this time, kind of to your point, like that spiciness, it's not necessarily there so much at all. It's actually smooth. It doesn't choke me a little bit like some of them do.
Real smooth.
Yeah, very good. It's got legs. I see that going on. Side of the glass there. It's sticking just a little bit. That's nice.
And the more I smell it, I don't really like the smell that much. But it doesn't taste like how it smells.
Yeah.
Kind of get a chocolate-covered cherry taste, too.
So, as usual, it's a pretty different kind of deal. So I'm wondering, so here's what I wanted to ask you. Does this taste old, regular spot? Where do you think that this, based on your interpretation, goes?
I'm not sure. As far, this isn't the most complex whiskey I've ever had, but when it comes to MGP ryes, this is a little more complex and that I'm used to and has different stuff going on. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint.
A menagerie of tastes.
Menagerie. It is. That's a good way to put it. It's delicious. I'm very happy.
I mean, it stinks like it's old. A little musty.
Yeah. I'm curious if this is...
And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Yeah, no, that's not derogatory. This is still...
I mean, it's good. It is good whiskey. I like it, but...
That's the highest endorsement you'll get from Kyle. It's good. I like it.
Those are my words, weren't they? I think it's good. It's tasty. Dang.
And the lowest is it'll get you drunk.
Well, that'll do
Or I
the
guess
trick.
undrinkable might be.
I mean, if it's so bad you can't drink it to get drunk, that's a problem you don't want to have.
Yeah. No, totally. Well, I mean, the more I go into it, though, as well, there is, like you're talking about some of those chocolate flavors, there is a little bit of spice to it, I got to say. I mean, not necessarily anything that's super powerful, not necessarily minty or anything like that, but...
But yeah, the menthol eucalyptus stuff is definitely there. I think I kind of fucked up and poured us a little too much to jump right into tasting the other one.
Like a little licorice flavor to it, to a certain degree.
A little anise.
Yes, exactly. Totally it. You can catch that in it. It's good.
Look at you.
You guys...
You've been drinking enough with us.
I'm catching up slowly, very slowly. But
if you drink enough whiskey,
that's
quick enough, you'll learn faster.
Seriously, right?
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's it too. Well, you guys got me started on the fancy stuff right off the bat. Some of the Japanese whiskeys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just apologize for that because that's just a.
I'm sorry we gave you like the.
It was wonderful.
The baseline, the status quo type stuff. That's okay.
You kind of spoiled me right away. I can't lie. And then you set those expectations so high every time you come in. And then I like to show up with the local stuff that we talk about pretty much every time.
Expect nothing, and I'm still disappointed.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's the way it goes though sometimes.
Well, as we're now kind of through this first wave, let's talk about a little bit the show that was just played last Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barely Brothers, you and Unholy Rat King.
Yeah.
We did. It was the first official show for Nitrowave TC.
The premiere.
The premiere episode that was also on Night Ride for you folks. And to Dennis and Z, I've got the file that's condensed and cut out all the other stuff.
Excellent. So you got rid of that dead space in between the two
the
sets?
dead space
Good,
and the other stuff.
Yeah.
that was in there that we probably didn't have permission or ability to use. So that's all. It's all gone. It's all condensed. Sounds
call.
good, and it's not just left channel only. So
Nice.
that's good.
We worked hard to try and correct that issue and problem. So
Didn't work.
Oh no!
So
kidding.
now I just mixed it as mono, so we're fine
All right.
now.
Hey,
that's
works
good
too. Yep.
But talk a little bit about that show,
Yeah.
your feelings. I've definitely got some impressions
Yeah.
I got from it. So kind of talk us through it a little bit.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I just got to point out, Kyle is a solid DJ. He walked up with the best of what there was out there for pretty much, what'd you say, dark wave, primarily thrown out there? Or
For that playlist, that was my, I would say, generic synthwave, non-vocal.
There we go.
Selection.
Well, and that's kind of the type of show it really was. When you get Rat King, crushing bits, and then I follow up with kind of
Right.
more the background
like-
ambient dreamwave.
And I did have
Yeah.
I have a dark synth
Yep.
playlist that I could do, or
Yeah.
I could do a vocal synthwave playlist that I could do.
Yeah.
But I felt for that show, not this show, that show, because we did it already.
Yep.
That was maybe the most appropriate.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. In fact, in the crowd, if I call it a crowd, and one of the cool things is that actually people showed up at the record store to see the premiere of Nitrowave, which honestly I was kind of curious to see, because going in for the first time, you never know what's going to happen. But the fact that we had some folks coming from out of town, thanks Jenny for coming. That's
Yeah.
amazing. But as well, other people from the community who are like, we think you guys are doing something kind of cool and we want to be a part of it. And so that was really encouraging.
I thought was really funny is that Kyle was recognized
Yes.
out in the real world.
My voice was recognized.
Well, that's still you, right? It's part of you.
That is.
What a voice it is. So, there you go.
Yeah, terrible. It's not hard to call that one out.
Took a lot of whiskey to get that voice, so in the condition it is. Yeah. No, we had a good time though. We really did. Barely Brothers is just a solid record store here in the Twin Cities. All they do is they sell vinyl. They have some cool posters and stuff up, of course, in the store as well. It's always for sale. But Mike, the owner, ultra nice guy, invited us back, which is a great scenario as well. He said,
That's about
"Anytime."
the best thing you can get is if you get invited
The
back.
proprietor says, "Hey, it's Friday night. You guys did good. Come on back again." That was dope.
I was really curious, but just getting the lay of the land, going in there and kind of just seeing the folks. It's very much a local establishment. You could tell that there are regulars there with routines and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when Unholy Rat King went on, I'm like, I wonder how this is gonna go. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
To see how the locals.
Well, Rat King had a solid set, though. I got to say, it was fun to listen to. It was my first time seeing him perform, and so to see him lean over. Some things you learn. Leaning over the table was a little low. At this point in life, I don't like bending over the table too much, because about
Smart.
halfway into the set, your back starts to get a little sore, So I'm leaning on the synths to keep myself
That's
comfortable.
why-
Maybe we could get you a chair.
I might need that, man.
Sit down
Seriously.
set.
At this point, it sounds
That'll
like I
be
need
exciting.
a walker as well to get on stage. Jeez, I should watch what I say here. But no, it was fun. Rat King was solid. He did a cool set. If anybody hasn't listened, if you haven't listened to his music before, definitely check it out.
And I believe, and you can listen to it now in Night Ride, and then I'll re-upload the file. But I believe he tailored that set just for the show, so it was kind of a exclusive thing that he did for that particular show, which is really cool. So it'll be you want to check that out in Night Ride, and it's a little bit special, I guess. So that's really cool that he put some time and energy to do something special for the first concert. So
Absolutely.
what were some takeaways for you with doing that?
I think that was the most important part of the whole deal is, just to remind everybody, this was kind of the premiere of Nitrowave. So part of it was going into a record store. We had a safe environment to learn, for one. People were there certainly to shop and to do what they did. And there are folks who came from out of town, from in town as well, to come and see, to be kind of a part of this, which was really special. But there's things that you learn. As far as equipment, you always want to show up with extra cords, extra cables, that kind of stuff, because God knows you don't want to come up short on anything like that. And we didn't, but we also had to, share a little bit of gear just to make sure that we had enough cable to get from the stage to the mixer, more or less,
Right.
So there's small stuff like that you pick up on and you learn. But as well, for those people who are listening and you're thinking about playing that first gig, you got to think about things and plan ahead. How about the dead space between songs? That's something, that we talked about certainly after the show, and that I have to problem solve for myself now too, because in using Ableton, I know that there's better ways for me to use it, but not always having the time that I need or someone to really kind of show me the ropes. It's all self-taught. So, figuring out ways to fill that space. And so going into this next show we have coming up on Friday, I'm going to be using something more like perhaps reverb to fill some of that space, to draw the songs out more at the end. And so as you're going through, you're paying attention, you're collecting information from other people saying, okay, so from your perspective, what went well and where was that room for improvement, and keeping the open mind. I think 90% of the set I was happy with, actually really happy with. That other 10%, hey, I came in expecting some things to go wrong and some things to go right.
And they did.
Yes.
They went both ways, right?
Absolutely.
I will say there was definitely, doing broadcasting and people did what they usually do, right? Which is like, they show up later, like at some sort of party. Like, no, if you don't show up, you're going to miss part of the act. So it seems like more people showed up later in the set, basically.
Totally. Yep.
But like once you started playing, it was really eerie to see like it seemed like everyone stopped what they were doing, stopped being loud, stopped rummaging through shit, and just started to pay attention to what was going on.
I did notice
stage.
that people stopped shopping and then just started watching.
And so that was a really, really cool, just for being part of the, knowing you and being part of what we're doing here in the cities.
Yeah.
That was like a nice affirmation to know that, we're doing something that's connecting to folks, because they're stopping and watching, stopping to watch what's going on stage. So
yeah,
that was it was really a great experience. And I mean, hopefully Friday we'll see. So you're playing with Nick Vivid.
Yeah, Nick's coming to town. He's on tour right now. The joke is hopefully his van makes it. So Nick, if you're listening, keep that baby tuned up and get here to Minnesota before the snow flies. Unreal.
Yeah.
But that's coming too. So, that's the thing though too with musicians. If out on tour, you're dealing with other things like, other types of equipment failure perhaps, or weather coming in and slowing everything down. But super fired up for that show, because this is the opportunity now to go from kind of the experiment of the first show at a record store into a place that is, more, I don't know, I want to say an establishment that actually makes its business off of live musicians and, the bar and all of that. So it's going to be a change. And, it's every time we've got to step the game up. But to go back to what you're talking about, once the music started at Barely Brothers and seeing that shift in the dynamics of the crowd, when that happens that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And that felt amazing. And I didn't really think much about it until you called it out after the show, actually. At that point, it was like, damn, you know what? That did happen. In fact, people did stop doing what they were doing and watched and didn't really move. From the stage, looking out at the people in there, everybody found their spot and stayed in that spot until the set was over. That tells me something was right.
Yeah.
Actually, really right.
So we're going to do a head-to-head with the other store pick. So we've actually reviewed this before in an earlier episode. So this would be the the Liquor Barrel store pick of Whistle Pig. This is a 13.5-year rye whisk from MGP as well. So we're going to see if it does the same things. And during the break, we made Chris swig the rest of his whisk like a man. So
It was delicious, by the way.
well, it's good juice.
Yeah, I think my beard got a little thicker after that one.
That's what
Amazing.
happens.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so Chris,
Here
get
we
your
go.
glass ready.
Here we go.
So let's do a little sniff.
So immediately I noticed that kind of funky, musty smell is not in this one.
Yeah, no, this is
Truth.
almost fruitier by comparison.
Right.
Actually, you're right. Yeah. Yep.
Getting more cherries, like dried cherries. A little bit of fig, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Mediterranean fruit.
I smell apricot.
Oh,
That's what I
damn.
smell.
Good job,
All right,
buddy.
Bringing my A game today.
You were on
When's
fire.
the last time you've eaten an apricot?
Oh my God.
Apricot?
When was the last time it was served on a high school lunch tray, perhaps?
Never.
Right, exactly. Scratch and sniff stickers. That was my last time I had apricot.
Oh, yeah. When can I compare the smell of a whiskey to the markers that stink?
Oh, there we go.
Like the
right?
light blue one? What
Yes.
smells like the fucking light blue one?
Oh, that's magic right there.
I'll tell you, the last time I had apricots, it's not a good story. So, road trip, got dried apricots. Thought that those would be a great road trip food. Okay. Had half the bag. I had the most violent diarrhea of my life, and I'm on the road 3.5 hours, and I'm gurgling and in pain. Like I'm starting to sweat, and there's no place to go. There's no gas. I mean, literally, I was about ready to pull over
The side of the road.
the side of the
Right,
road
yeah.
and just
leave
shit
some
my brains
spatter
out.
there. Yeah.
And then, yeah.
But
Like
oh
my
my
brother's friend when he had that problem in the middle of winter. You stop on the side of the road, take a shit, and then take off your shirt, wipe your ass with your shirt,
throw
and
your
then
shirt
just
away.
leave it. And then you'd be shirtless in winter driving the rest of the way home.
Is that a War Road story out of curiosity?
No, that's Omaha.
Oh my.
That makes sense. Oh,
Yeah,
my.
that makes a lot of sense.
So, anyways, dried apricots. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
I think that's the most common way to eat those, though. Like,
Holy God, it was.
who eats a non-dried one?
I've never seen an apricot in the store now that we mention it.
Can't you get like apricots in a can? Little.
Is that how they come?
I think isn't that one of the ways?
What does an
I don't
apricot even
know
look
things.
like?
Listen,
Actually?
I don't know.
know.
I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, dried apricots do not work well for me. That's the point of the story. So much so, it's been like 8 years, and I have not had one since.
Obviously, you haven't forgotten about it. So
Well, yeah, the pain, the visceral pain. You know what? It's said that you can't remember pain, but I remember the abdominal, like,
I've been through
violence.
many situations where I remember the pain.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
same here.
just living, life is pain, and I will never fucking forget that shit.
It's like my last 12 hours of my life.
all right, let's drink this shit.
For me, this one is much better.
Interesting.
I was gonna say it's not as good personally.
For me, comparing it to the other one, it does feel a little bit thinner, but that might be due to the difference in proof, although it's not a big difference at all. It's very slight.
6 points.
It might be that, but I'm definitely getting more pickle
Oh, yeah.
and more honey
Yeah.
and more caramel out of this one.
This is always a fun little thing that Con and I've talked about on the side. It's like when you talk about the various notes of whiskeys, they sound like the most disgusting ingredients you could possibly think
Yeah,
of.
like those three things together would be the worst combination ever, but it is in this, and it
glass?
works very well.
Yeah, it's magical for a whiskey. So I don't know, what that is, but maybe because they're subtle hints.
Yeah.
It's not really sure, but it's not as complex. There's not as much stuff going on with this, but it's really good. It hits high notes. Like it's very the through line of the pickles, the honey, all that stuff. It's very strong.
Oh, this one fucking does it for me.
No kidding.
That's why you drank 6 bottles of it.
Yeah.
I think I've had more than that. And I got the last 2 bottles of it. So I've got a bottle and about a third left.
Savor that stuff.
And it's going to be one of the ones that just sits there forever because I'm too scared to drink it because it's irreplaceable.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good stuff. And I have a stashed bottle. Actually, no. This is it. That's all I have. So no one's allowed to drink the rest of this bottle.
Okay, it's good that I did a smaller pour for
Yeah,
this one.
because
than the other
that's
one.
it. That's all I have, and it's such good stuff.
So for me, there's a big contrast between the sweet smell to me because the flavor to me almost tastes a bit like pine to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. No, completely different from the way it smelled. I didn't expect
We slipped
it.
you a little pine sol.
Oh, that explains
just
a
trying
lot.
to
In
kill you.
fact, I shouldn't have gone to the bathroom between the speaking parts here. Yeah, that black light brings out the worst in people.
It does. You're right. I mean, I still like the other one, and I'm going to have another pour of it.
I like the other one, and I'll be buying a few bottles of that for sure.
So what I was going to get into is, folks, I don't know what this state's about. Either it shows that we're alcoholics, or
No.
no.
Wait,
So
what's the other one? Because it might be a both.
Or we're like pretending like we have money, which is one may be the case more than the other. But these are like $88 a bottle.
No kidding.
Like depending, like it could
Whistle
be,
pig?
Yeah.
Really?
it's expensive shit. Like, and initially, like I thought that was really expensive for. It is really expensive for the regular shit. I would never pay $90 for the
never.
regular shit, but for this, it's worth the money.
So once this show is an LLC, can you write this off?
Sure, retroactively, I'll write it off.
Exactly. There you go. Right. Thank you, Uncle Sam.
I have zero income, but lots of expenditures.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Right.
We
You got
all
to keep
do.
the show going. So,
Oh, man.
You know?
This is really a top tier whiskey.
It is.
good.
It's really good stuff. And
You know what I would like to do
tell me
if I were a rich person
If I were.
and more were available? I would love to head this one, the Liquor Barrel store pick,
Yeah,
against Kentucky Owl.
there you go.
If I had $1 million, they should write a song about that.
It's like let's have a true street fight, a brawl between the best ryes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is
Well,
good.
I mean, we could do. You just go grab my rye bottle out of my Kentucky Owl or are you talking about batch 1? Because I've got batch 2 in my cabinet.
Well, first I would really like to do a batch 1 versus batch 2.
Well, batch 1 wins.
But I can't get batch 1 anymore because Facebook sucks.
But we can go to a place and do it head to head.
If they had both of them.
I think they
'Cause
have
they
both.
only had the one when we were there last. And I was excited that was the only one that they had.
Yeah. Listen, folks, we have a few secret places we go to when we want to drink the.
And that's how shitty this is. We have to have secret places to
You guys,
get
you guys
stuff.
won't even tell me where you buy your shit. That's the crazy part. It's like some sort of weird drug deal or something that I'm not allowed to be a part of.
Well, it's just because it's like I was actually making a joke with one of the people at the place where I got this other bottle from, where I'm like, I hope no one knows that this bottle is here because they've got cases of it on the shelf. It's in 3 spots, filled front to back all the way, and I thought that was going to be the case with Liquor Barrel. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was there forever. It was there for almost a year, and then someone came in and bought almost everything.
Yeah. The only thing that they missed was what was on the shelf and not like out in the floor area.
Yeah.
And yeah, lucky for me, I came in and got what was on the
And
shelf.
you dropped $160, 160 or 180-ish after tax to get those last 2 bottles.
Yes.
Because it's worth it.
And I said, oh, God damn it. Of course, I have to. I have no
You have
choice.
no choice.
This is so stupid.
Because it's so good.
This is
It's
so
that
stupid.
good.
I have the worst, most expensive, dumbest hobbies.
No. Here's one of the things that I've learned in life, and I've learned this from people that are much older than myself, is that one of the few pleasures that you can truly enjoy in life is good food. And I would put good whiskey underneath that canopy there. If you can step up and you can afford something that's this good and that tasty, that's what it's all about. That's living. That's it.
By the way, you just reminded me.
Oh, bring it on. I love it.
November 10th,
Yes.
11 a.m.,
All right.
Manny's Steakhouse. We're going there.
All right.
You're invited.
Yes.
I am 100% in.
And so is everyone else.
the 11th.
Yeah,
Just
everyone
now that
else.
you-
So that's a Monday.
No.
The
that's
11th? What day?
The 10th. It's a
The
Sunday.
10th.
It's a Sunday.
Oh, the 10th, a Sunday. Okay.
It's a very special occasion.
Yes. On the email that Manny's sent out, they
Yeah.
said the 11th, but it's actually the 10th.
Got it. All right. Fair enough. So I'm sorry. What's going on at Manny's? I'm putting in my phone right now. I'm really
Brunch buffet for me, it'd be like a birthday thing. My
All right.
birthday's on the 5th, but
Okay.
we're doing it on the 10th.
I am there.
Yeah. He's turning 27. So
Wow.
Permanently 27.
27.
he's celebrating
You're one of those.
anniversary
Nice.
of that age.
That's
My
beautiful.
11th
Yeah.
anniversary of turning 27.
I like your style. I'm gonna have one of those too. I think this year too, or next year, I guess at this point. So, but yeah, absolutely. I'm in. I'm
Cool. So let's get back to the show
in. Yes.
that we played.
the
right?
whiskey part isn't part of the show. That's
Yeah.
Well, no. The live show that you played. I
Okay.
just want to get into it a little bit more.
There we go.
that
was-
show.
Yeah.
That show,
The other show.
the Barely Brothers
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So,
that was awesome.
and now you've got the same head-to-head
Yes.
Unholy Rat King, North Innsbruck. Now,
Yep.
Did I hear correctly that Nick Vivid is playing in the middle of the set?
Yeah. So so I'm opening. And Nick set this all up. I'm sure he listened to us ahead of time, made that decision. But yeah, I'm going to open up the whole show here, which is very different because Rat King opened the last show. And then we've got Nick Vivid sandwiched, Nitrowave sandwich, if you will.
So we literally just
delicious.
listened to some Nick Vivid before you came over.
Nice.
So he's like electrofunk is.
I like how you put that, electro funk, and he's got the style that goes along with it.
Yes,
he's got
the
some smooth
bell-bottom
moves.
jeans, and the shimmying around.
Yeah, and that van. I'm telling you what, I want that van. That thing is dope.
So it's a very that show as far as electronic music ish goes. It's a very eclectic.
Yeah.
So cinematic,
totally it
stuff, vocal, electrofunk, and bit crushing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's it. I love how Rat King, he keeps saying, I'm I don't know if I'm allowed to drop the F-bomb on this show anymore.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh, well, fuck. In that case. No, he said, I'm going to clear that bar out. By the time my set starts, I'm going to start crushing bits and everybody's going to clear the fuck out of the hex. I'm thinking, no, actually, that's the point where they stop throwing bottles at the stage and they're going to actually enjoy the show with that crowd. Because that's a pretty hardcore bar, to say the least.
Mostly a metal bar, isn't
metal
it?
and like hardcore punk, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a special place.
Yeah. So I
say.
mentioned it at work today to a couple coworkers. They looked at me like, the Hex? You're playing your music at the Hex? Are you nuts?
You're playing your music at the
your
Hex?
music? That's what it was kind of like. And I was like, well,
amazing.
it's all right. Cinematic Dreamwave, we'll bring it on.
I've had some dirty
Retrowave.
nights there.
Oh man.
You've had some dirty nights everywhere. So
yeah, that's
true.
Right? Yeah.
That's very true.
Seriously, right? If you could only see the smile on Kyle's face right now.
It's just me realizing how dirty I am, especially at this point in time.
Dirty white boy. All right.
That's perfect. Yeah. So no, that's like you said, Eric, though, that's going to be an eclectic set to say the least, but I think it's going to be a dope show without a doubt because we've got, you think about electronic music and how, the variety of what's come out in the last, let's say even the last few years, as far as things have changed. Really, we've got a solid representation of some of the newer, I don't know, just some of the coolest stuff that's come out recently, in my opinion. Not so much maybe us to get my head too big, but the styles in and of themselves, that electro funk, the cinematic, this whole dreamwave style as well is the big crush of Rat King. People who come into town or from town to see the show are in for a treat, without a doubt. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
I will be. It's going to be interesting to see the turnout again and see. I didn't really know about Nick Vivid beforehand, but he seems like he's got a decent following. So
absolutely,
it'll be a good show. So we will be broadcasting that and hopefully have less technical difficulties.
Yeah. So those of you who are listening, what happened in between the sets of myself and Rat King was I had to assemble part of my rig in between the sets just because we had one table. So I kind of had to put it all together in between. And of course, when you're running a computer, an audio interface, MIDI, and a projector, something's going to go wrong unless you have a chance to test out ahead of time. So at my second, maybe kind of blurs together now. Could have been the third reboot. Finally, everything kicked in, and I actually decided to abandon the projector piece of it. So if you're coming to the show at the Hex, I'm opening. Everything's gonna be ready to go. We're gonna have projector playing some old school kind of 80s movie type stuff at certain times. I've got some really kick-ass visuals that have been put together by a person from Austin, Texas, KYEO. I think it's Kayo.
I thought you were
perhaps
KY
Kayo
Jelly,
one.
but
Yeah,
okay.
no KY Jelly. No. I think it's Kayo one perhaps. But put together some wicked sweet visuals for the set as well. So we're gonna get that going. Actually, I'm pretty fired up about this one because. I'd like to say we worked out the kinks in the first one. I know we didn't. You were talking about Lazer Punk just a little bit ago, how things can go wrong, even with the best gear, the best equipment.
Don't worry, folks. We'll get to that.
Exactly. A little teaser for those of you who are listening right now. So but we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I'm enjoying it. We're having a good time. And we'll see what kind of crowd we draw. Again, we're building a scene here, building a culture in the Twin Cities, which is actually something that's really unique. Nobody's done something like this before. So we're the first, I think.
for electronic.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like,
synthwave.
What?
Synthwave first. Not even electronic music.
hip hop
but-
in the Twin Cities has done this before. So
That's a good point. Yes, absolutely.
Doom tree.
yeah, if you're
deal.
familiar
Doom
with that.
Trizzle. Yep, exactly. That's it. But that's all right. That's a solid group that's done some cool work underneath the Rhymesayers label with atmosphere and all of that. And we're there's a certain model there that you can look at and you can follow, you can trace, and we're gonna do some freaking cool stuff. That's all there is to it.
We're going to
building
play
something.
some music, guys.
We're gonna play some fucking music
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a good time.
So Kyle and I last night we went and saw Lazer Punk. Now a lot of times, like I don't bother to listen to anything before I go to an event. I like to go in a surprise, and this has been my 2019 model: is no spoilers. Just go in and enjoy it. Say yes to more things, but like don't dig into like anything. Just do it.
That's a bold move.
It is a bold move because there's lots.
Because
of
on
room
the other hand, like I have, been closely following Lazer Punk stuff, and
for a long
I have
time.
had a certain situation with him going on. So I went in fully knowing what I would get, but was also very surprised.
Yeah. So, like most like synthwave groups, they because it's such a, and again, I'm using the umbrella term of synthwave, basically, any sort of like retro tinged kind of thing, and that's darkwave and everything else. When you see them, unfortunately, they tend to open up for other acts that are sort of loosely affiliated with that particular thing. So it's like if you see Carpenter Brute, he opened up for Ministry, right? Because that's kind of a parallel of genres, if you will. So Lazer Punk was opening, and I don't even remember what
Aesthetic perfection.
whatever that means. So
Aesthetic perfection. That's what we should all strive for. In fact, that almost sounds vaporwave-ish, to be honest with you. The aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah.
Spaced out capital letters.
Oh, damn. That's it right there. Yeah, I'm changing my sound just so I can use that hashtag.
there you go,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So I knew that Lazer Punk was in that particular thing, but I didn't listen to any of this stuff beforehand, and I was very happy. Now going into it, here's what I thought. There are two things that kind of hit me. He sort of sound a little bit like Daniel Deluxe. Like there's a vibe there that he had, but then it's a lot more bombastic and like all the tempo changes that he was doing. Like it was a very exciting music. Like it's loud, it's quiet, it's fast. There's a lot of really good stuff happening with what's going on there.
So I was very surprised because, I'm familiar with his work, like Death and Glory. Very familiar with that album. What he played, only 2 songs, had I heard before. And he was doing a lot of knob, ripping and turning. So he was, he was actually doing stuff, not just hitting the space bar on his computer and playing some shit. So he was going. So that was great to hear a bunch of stuff that I had never heard before. And, he was adding a flair to and, catering it to a live show. So that was really good. There was a slight hiccup in the show.
Yes.
There were some goth kids dancing that knocked over some of his gear that, made the show like stop. It was his power supply for most of his stuff got knocked over by someone dancing and the cords got unplugged. So he had to, stop for a second and get everything set back up and then go again.
Well, okay, to that, can you imagine, though, I honestly, as a new musician, I'd be pretty hyped if somebody got so into my show that they fucking knocked my gear off.
No.
I'd be pissed,
He
actually.
said,
I'd
though,
lose my
like,
shit.
he's been,
Yeah.
we were just over the halfway point in the tour that's going on right now for the bands that he's with. And he said, I'm honestly surprised that it took this long for something to actually happen.
And to say something, they were scenester kids. Like they were putting on a show. It wasn't necessary. I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental of saying that.
It's okay. Do it once. I
intentions.
just want to hear you do it, man, because you're not that way. Just put it out there.
No, but
Okay.
to me, there's certain people that they go there to be the center of attention. Like they make a big beacon to themselves. Like the kid with the green hair, he basically looked like Jared Leto's Joker, but with like a mesh shirt, but like could not dance to save his life. Like I was kind of
but was so into it that you knocked stuff off that was on the stage. Like you gotta be flailing around quite a bit to knock something.
And well,
off
that's
on the
how I would
stage.
describe his dancing is mostly just flailing.
That's a lack
It's
of
more
self-awareness that just drives me nuts.
So I don't know. If I was a legitimate artiste,
Yeah.
I would be upset if somebody knocked my gear off. The
Actually,
stage.
I'd probably cry. Because
I mean, just think
God
about how
knows.
much time it, all that shit. And computers, you're
Yep.
reboot, reset,
Yep.
put everything back on, yada, yada, yada. It's a
Yep.
pain in the ass.
It's hard enough to get that shit to turn on the first time, obviously,
Right.
let alone resetting it up in the middle of the set.
It's so, it just, and there was some Convergence people there. So I thought that was.
Convergence being one of the.
Where was this at again?
This was at the Red Sea.
Lazer Punk at Red Sea.
So
really?
what I've just learned, is that actually a lot of goth and metal shows play there.
And hip hop.
And hip hop.
So Red Sea is cool again.
I guess. I had.
I mean, it's an Ethiopian restaurant
Right.
that also is a venue, which just blows my mind.
And then
Wow.
also serves alcohol, which also is a little strange for me.
I kind of want to play Red Sea suddenly.
That was kind of my first thought. Was
Wow.
like, we need to play Red Sea because
yeah.
it's like this dark. It almost reminds me of. God, I'm trying to. What's the venue in Minneapolis? It was just basically like a hallway. It was like
311.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go. That's
Played
kinda,
there before, and yes, I had the same vibes. Except when deep bass happened, none of the metal stuff in the ceiling would make a bunch of fucking noise and vibrate.
That's awesome. Oh
So there's that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then Nitrowave might have to look at Red Sea as a
Yep.
possibility here in the
I
future.
was like, yeah, this is a legit place, but it's interesting to see, the turnout for that. And again, I didn't, I went there.
Yeah, I didn't know any of the other bands playing. I know Lazer Punk. I know Lazer Punk a little more than most people because I've had back and forth with him before.
Okay, how many people were there? Out of curiosity, any estimate? Like 50? 100?
I don't know. It was hard to say because we were more towards the front and there was space behind, and
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking behind me. I was looking forward because I was there to see Lazer Punk because that's something that
all
I'm
about
into.
Lazer Punk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that as Lazer Punk was done, more people were coming in. So clearly
Okay.
the other bands had more of a following.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There were quite a few people there. A variety of folks, which was interesting. Which no, it's not really interesting. It's actually pretty fair. I mean, I think the genre of music attracts a great variety of folks. So,
Very cool.
What's interesting about Lazer Punk is he dresses in a full Adidas tracksuit.
Really?
He's got the Adidas hat on, the Adidas.
Well, he's totally working the Slav angle.
You say that, and all I can think of is Jeffree Star. You familiar with that person?
That's
This tracksuit?
Totally different.
Totally different.
Okay, thank you for
Totally,
saying something different.
We're
there.
talking
yeah.
Russian Eastern Bloc,
All right.
crouching down,
Okay.
squatting, Slav squatting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Type of.
So during his
Yes.
performance, he was doing all of these dramatic hand gestures, like making
Really?
the claw and
Oh man, I got to work on my squat. That's all there is to it.
So I mean, he was definitely putting he was expert knob twiddling, and he was voguing almost.
That's pretty cool.
So,
It was really cool. So I guess I should get into. So I mean, we're new doing the live broadcast. I've mentioned this before on the show, but back when Digital Demon dropped, track by Lazer Punk and Daniel Deluxe, when that first dropped,
sense.
I approached Lazer Punk and I was like, "Hey, I would really like to release your new album on vinyl. What can I do? Let's talk things out. Let's do something. Let's release this."
Sweet.
And that would have been my first legitimate vinyl release. I've done illegitimate vinyl releases before, but
That's pretty cool though, and someday I think we should talk a lot about that on this show because I'd love to learn more about your releases that you've done.
We've covered it a little bit before. So
You're not usually want to talk much about yourself, so that's why I bring that up.
But it's like, going back to that, I had messaged Lazer Punk and had a little back and forth with him, and I was like, hey, I'd really like to release this album on vinyl. Like, let's talk, let's do something. And at the time, I was thinking, like, if I can't do it the way that I want to do it for this quantity and this style and this idea that I have for it, like, if he's not into that, then I would like to suggest someone else that I'm friends with that I know has a record company and have him do it and do his style of release for it. So what's really funny is when I was talking to him, he's like, oh, I'm already talking to someone else. I think we've got I think we've come to an agreement and we're going to have it on vinyl and I'm going to do it like this. And I was like, hey, were you talking to Brian? And Brian is my friend who owns Electric Dream Records. And Brian, so he was just like, yes, that's actually what it is. That's great. And I was like, you know what? Right. That's perfect because I would have told you if you didn't like my idea that you should go with Brian and do this and release it on Electric Dream Records. So that's exactly what happened. It released on EDR. And that was everything.
Dream Records.
Nice.
And I was lucky enough to get one of the test presses of the vinyl for Death and Glory. So last night I went there with my test press for Death and Glory and got it signed by him. Nice. And it's funny because I got to talk to him and be like, hey, here you can put a face to the message of the person who was talking to you
unfortunate
before.
Face.
Yeah. So, we talked about that and he was like, and Lazer Punk was like, yeah, Brian was such a great guy. I really like his ideas of what he wants to do. Like his releases are good. And, his business practice is great. And I agree 1000% that Brian is a fucking awesome guy and Electric Dream Records is an awesome fucking label. And then the best part was like, I hope there's no hard feelings. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. Like everything worked out perfect. Brian did a better release probably than I could have done, and it all worked out. And I got my shit signed, and it was great. It was perfect.
That's like that's a fairy tale ending to a whole sort of thing for you. Like that's like the best way to end a whole scenario.
It was, and he was so nice. Lazer Punk, so nice.
Nice.
Totally willing to engage with his fans. I wasn't the only person who approached him and wanted to talk to him. It was great. And just overall, super nice guy.
Very cool.
And at the end of the night, we both had the same idea. He was just like, I need to go take a shower and do this. And I was like, I'm fucking going home right now to take a shower. I'm not sticking around for the other bands. I'll do the same thing.
I love it. Oh, wow.
So everything worked out perfectly. It was great.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Now I'm waiting for you guys to finish your drinks. Of course. This last one went down pretty good, actually.
Well, I gave you a baby little
You kind of did. I was slow with the first one.
Oh, this one is...
Yeah. This hits a spot.
This is really top tier shit here.
Yeah.
And that's,
I fucking love this.
And that's the second. Yeah. That's the second one. So are you coming back around?
Can I have another pour, gentlemen?
No, both of them are top tier. The one's better than the other, but they're both top tier.
They're very good. Very good.
Yeah.
A name like Whistlepig, it kind of turned me off a little bit at first. I was thinking it wasn't going to be that good. But, yeah.
So this is the reason why we got turned on to this is because for those folks that are, they like, well, what do I do for whiskey? How do I know what's a good whiskey? Yada, yada, yada. One of the things, we're in a whiskey club. And so they provided one of the whiskey tastings we went to. They did a session with just their store picks of a variety, like 6 particular labels. And that's how we got turned on, because I had bought a bottle of Whistlepig because we had heard about it and were not impressed. Like we did the store pick or did the regular pick and was like, this is garbage.
Yeah.
It tastes like Canadian whiskey, which is not good. Sorry to Jules.
Well, here's the that was smooth.
I've had okay whiskey.
Royal,
I had a 41-year-old Canadian whiskey, which was good.
Yeah.
Which was good. 41 years to be good.
Yes.
41 years. Here's the thing, though. I know, Eric, you helped me finish that bottle of Crown Royal pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
In the studio.
Well, because basically, I like drinking high alcohol content stuff. So, like, it was basically like drinking water to me. Like,
it'll get you drunk.
It's smooth.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
It's smooth. It'll get you drunk.
Smooth.
We haven't talked about the smooth thing to the Night Ride crowd.
Oh man, that was your chance.
It's a funny. How do we even approach that? So, It's definitely an inside joke for us from the earlier episodes from our podcast. It's sort of like in the whiskey community, it's a no-no. Like you're not, like that basically shows that you're like a no.
Yeah, there should be no distinction between smooth or not smooth. Like it's whiskey. And obviously, well, I don't know, obviously, but apparently, allegedly, if you're drinking something and you say that it's smooth, it's like, ooh, all right, you obviously haven't had enough whiskey to really know what you're talking.
You put
about.
it that way. There's nothing smooth about whiskey. Now that you mention it, that's a good point.
I disagree because
No
I could
kidding.
drink any whiskey like water right now.
Well, it
and
depends on
wouldn't
how much you've
matter.
consumed, perhaps, in your lifetime.
And that's also another thing that we've talked about. If you haven't heard before, the more you have, the more whiskey you have, the more you are able to pick out smells, pick out tastes, and drink and not be bothered by it. So the more you do drink, the easier it is to do all of the above, basically.
I swear, as I go through the night here, and I have my third pour of this other bottle of whiskey. You called out the raisin, and this time I swear to God I can smell that raisin. I can. There's nothing, no doubt about
There's
it.
an interesting thing. So as you basically, whiskey basically anesthetizes.
Listeners, they know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyways, it numbs your palate, numbs your tongue, and so
It does.
when you start to mess with your palate, it starts to register different with alcohol, right? So you pick up different notes, you pick up different things, and they become more clearer as you're drinking a particular thing. So raisins, definitely. I think I'm gonna have my fourth pour.
Oh,
You're an adult. You can do what you
ahead of
want.
me.
Do what I want.
Can I do the honor and pour you one this time? You've always poured for me.
I haven't always poured for you. I think
Not at my place, but that's another story.
Are we doing it Japanese style where you can't pour your own drink?
That's the proper way to do it, perhaps.
I mean, you did offer me some Yamazakis, so I mean that I appreciate that.
Nothing but the best for you guys.
Clearly,
You got to step up your game for me then.
Well, if I drank as much as you guys, I couldn't afford it. But there we go, right?
well,
that
you don't drink
Yamazaki's
as much
good.
as us, so you should be able to afford it.
Well, that's true, and in fact,
That's a very good
now
point.
that I'm trying to live a cleaner, healthier
Hey.
lifestyle, I will. You know what? Next time I'm here, I'm going to bring something special for you guys. Just because it seems
better
like
not
the
be from
proper.
Panda.
I'm fucking scared.
Oh my god!
I'm disappointed already.
You got. I swear to God, I'm gonna bring in a fancy ass bottle of something. I'm gonna fill that shit with Panther, and I'm gonna sit back and listen to you guys go.
Dude.
tastes like fucking tasty yumness. or something.
You do realize that like when you're talking to either one of us about what is a good whiskey, like we're gonna figure it out. Like
I'm curious now.
who else are you gonna go to? About
I've
your
only been
whiskey
impressed
selection?
by the stuff that you will never ever get in your life again.
We're gonna bring it back
I'm
to-
ruined.
So you're
I'm
just-
ruined because of some of the things that I've had.
Oh man, I need to try that. It's gonna be like the Pepsi challenge. I'm gonna do like A or B more, and you're gonna be like, I like B more, and I'm gonna be like, that's Panther from Osakis.
That will never happen in 500.
Would you guys be game for that? For real?
Oh,
if we
yeah.
did a taste off.
I would be able to call out your bullshit. No fucking
I won't even
problem.
lie to you guys. I will set the cards up and have the names underneath them, and we will set up like 3 different.
I
lists.
love that. I would
Yeah.
fucking love
Let's
a
do it.
blind tasting because I could
fucking do
call
it.
out any shit.
We're gonna do it. I'm not even gonna tell you what I'm bringing. I will set them underneath like the little cardboard domes or whatever it is that they do, and have the glasses in front of you guys. I'm gonna watch you two go. Oh, this is delicious. I'm gonna be like, it's fucking Panther.
It will
Fuck you
never
guys.
happen, ever.
Oh damn.
I
see.
fucking look forward to this.
If what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? What if you choose the nasties?
It's impossible. That won't happen.
It's just not possible. You know, speaking of other people have dabbled, and I'd say probably more than dabbled, but apparently last year at Moogfest, Wes Borland played a bunch of sets. Which
Big dumb face.
right? I wonder if he played under that name, but I was actually kind
Pretty
of
sure he
curious.
does it with
as to
his
hear
brother, I believe.
That's pretty wild. Man.
Isn't that weird? Imagine this in your life as a career. Is like you're part of Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
It's like almost saying you're a member of, what's the Canadian?
Oh, just from the news. Now I'm
Jesus Christ.
Nickelback. There we go.
But like,
me a
imagine
minute.
if
Yeah.
you were actually cool and talented and like people liked you, but you were part of Nickelback.
Yeah.
And
Didn't that dude from Nickelback marry
Avril
Lavigne?
Yes.
yeah, but they're divorced now, I believe.
But was that the real Avril Lavigne?
Yeah,
no,
or the one that
was
died.
the reptilian version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Oh, man. That's another episode someday.
Well, I don't know.
We've mentioned it before on the show.
No,
So
seriously?
that and the Andrew WK thing, yes.
Yeah.
What's that? We don't need to go into it now. Sometime you can fill me in on that one. Andrew W.
No, I mean, the going theory is that Andrew WK has been replaced by a clone or a body double
Or
or
someone else.
Kinda
And
like-
Avril Lavigne has died and been replaced by someone else.
It's like that Andy Kaufman
Ultimate Warrior.
sort of
Right?
thing. What?
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior from WWF.
He's dead.
Well, the first one died, and then there was a second one.
Well, he's dead too.
Well, probably at this point.
Well, they're both
don't
dead.
they all
If that's
die early?
the case, they're both
Yep.
dead.
They have to be. It's
A lot of wrestlers have died here in the Twin Cities.
Well, yeah,
as a
when
matter
you
of
do
fact, in hotel rooms.
steroids and fucking
Yeah.
drink hard, do
Mr.
drugs.
Perfect
what
was
happens?
one. I remember he died
Eddie
here.
Guerrero.
Eddie
was the
Guerrero
last
died
one.
here as well. Yeah, Scott Weiland died out in what was it, Waconia, where Mitchell Jasper is at. Right? Didn't he die in
It's so
Waconia?
appropriate.
Right?
So
Scott
appropriate.
Weiland? It's terrible, but
I-
I would say if
Whatever.
you're a well-known wrestler or musician, don't come to town here if you're
Yeah.
having a hard time because
you
you're
wrestle,
probably
don't
going to
come
die
to
here.
Minnesota because you
Yeah.
will die.
Yeah,
Or you came for a full circle because a lot of wrestlers are from here. in
yeah,
Minnesota.
that's true. Yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Brock. Everybody's from Alexandria, Minnesota.
Right, there you go. Yeah. Brock Lesnar? Is that
Yeah,
who you're
yeah.
talking
Sorry,
about?
Brock Lesnar. Sorry.
Eddie.
Sorry. That's who's Eddie Brock?
Venom's not from
Venom-
here.
Venom is
not,
not-
from here.
Thank you. I was like, is that his real name? Yeah.
4 in high proof booze
Yeah.
does it for me.
That's
Sorry,
all right.
I don't have
Blame it on
the
the whistle pig.
Yeah, the whistle pig will
Yeah.
do it. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Brock Lesnar, yes,
Yeah.
from Alexandria, Minnesota.
Seriously.
Used to show up to a place I worked at on a fairly regular basis, apparently, before I was there, which is kind of sad. But apparently he's a dickhead in real
But
life.
what would you do if you
go
were there
figure.
when it happened?
I would just be like, I saw that person in real life. Like, I once saw Hal Sparks at the LAX. And I'm like, there's Hal Sparks. And then that was it. That was the end of the... And you both of you are like, who the fuck is Hal Sparks?
I actually was having that moment. But
So he hosted... He was on Queer... Fuck, I don't even remember what he's fucking on at this point.
that's all right. You know what was cool, though? Meeting Doug Bradley at Crypticon.
Oh, yeah.
That was dope.
We both did that.
Yep.
That was both a
Yep.
thing.
That was one
we
of the
did.
highlights of my year.
Doug Bradley, who plays Pinhead from Hellraiser, for folks.
Both
that are-
three of us
Yeah.
did that.
All three
That
of
was
us
cool.
did the thing.
Yeah. I would
And
gladly do
was
that
the
again.
only thing that I would be willing to pay money for
Yep. Yeah.
was worth the experience. Everyone I could give a shit less.
I got the book, but his...
Well, what's his
Yeah. He signed it. It was awesome.
Scorpio?
Oh yeah, Andrew Robinson.
Yes, he was good. He was real good.
He was really good as far as like his
Wow, this I feel like right now people are gonna be like, "Wow, these guys are fucked up."
Well, if they haven't
I'm
thought
going to
that
stop
already.
listening right now.
Goodbye. Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
Night Ride. And
So-
click.
Andrew Robinson played Scorpio and Dirty Harry.
Oh.
He played the father in Hellraiser,
Yep.
Larry Cotton, and then he played what's his head in Deep Space Nine. He played a Kardashian.
Yeah, and it's like right now that feels the worst because that's probably his most notable thing, and I can't remember the.
But he's been in a
character's
bunch
name.
of stuff. So, anyways, we went to Crypticon, and you, Chris, you were there, obviously. But you left after Doug Bradley, right? Or did you stay?
I did. No, we took off shortly. Actually, that was pretty much. It's kind of like opening the Christmas gifts. I met Doug Bradley, got the photo with him, and said, "You know what? I don't need to meet Jesse Ventura," and was like, "I'm out of here. Bye. I'm gonna
No
go
one
to
does.
the Mall of
No one
America
does.
instead," which is what happened
Wow,
that day.
that's like,
Yeah.
that's the worst thing you possibly do.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, I know,
okay, I'm
right?
sorry for you.
Come on, I got some cool high tops when I was there.
You missed out on Andrew Robinson.
I've never
I
seen
did.
you wear anything but a pair of fucking boots. What are you talking about? High tops.
For those of you who are listening, these are Minnesota-made Red Wing boots, Minnesota
Jesus
local.
Christ,
They're
stop it
beautiful.
already.
Right
Stop.
there. Yep.
What about
Send
these
me
high
Red-
tops?
Red
We're
Wing
talking
if-
about your fucking boots right
Red Wing,
now.
if you're listening, send me free boots. No, these are like the dope-ass Kobe Bryant, no laces, fucking playing basketball type of high tops.
Jesus.
Look at you guys. Just look at me with hate right now. Just hate, especially Kyle.
Confusion. Mostly just confusion.
fucking
What?
Yeah, I
burns.
have no idea what's going on.
I'm gonna wear my high tops next time. You're gonna be like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah, just to
Like,
fucking.
Don't you remember me? It's North Innsbruck. No, you're not.
wearing high tops.
Yeah, wearing high tops.
Amazing. Okay.
White high tops, nonetheless.
Jesus.
Talk about an impulse purchase. They
Well,
felt cool.
I think you made the wrong decision as far as that goes.
That's okay.
Andrew Robinson,
Yeah.
his Q&A presentation, whatever it was so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He was animated. He got up. He talked about, his whole career in such an entertaining and engaging way. But I will say, I know you're hating, but I could see why people voted for Jesse Ventura. Like when he got up on stage and he was talking, I'm like, wow, this guy's actually kind of charismatic.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
really. And what the
Seriously.
fuck are you doing getting us off track with this shit from months ago, from July?
Blame it on the whistle pig. But no, I think it's good stuff to talk about. Here's the deal. You talk about Jesse. I remember that was my first time voting. Was Jesse Ventura. And sure as fuck, I'm going to vote for a pro wrestler because it was hilarious at the time.
Why are you
because I was a kid.
perpetuating this shit?
Yeah,
Because it's Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse.
Jesus. He
Let's
kind
not go
of
there.
officially sort of nonchalantly maybe sort of initiated his third-party candidacy for president for 2020.
Seriously?
Yeah, he went on CNN or some shit.
The people still let him on television. That's amazing.
I was surprised too. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? He's on television again?
That's the way it goes.
It's very light on the
Facts?
conspiracy theories, I was going to say.
Oh,
but
light
yes, the
on
facts as
conspiracy?
well. Yeah.
It's a heavy on the
Both.
conspiracy.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. He was light on conspiracy theories and also facts
Yeah.
concurrently.
Very little substance.
That was real quick with the comedy, Chris.
You're welcome,
I
by the way.
respect.
By the
Again,
way.
I'm going to blame it on the whistle pig. I've got my flow
Well, if
on
that's
now.
what it takes, then you need to drink a lot more whistle
Shit,
pig.
yeah. Yep.
Shit.
Bring it on. Yep.
But he was actually engaging. I called bullshit on like 80% of what he was saying, but
Yeah.
I'm like, man, he is so confident and funny and like everything. I'm like, I can see. I remember why he was such a big deal, but he's so frail now.
Yeah, that's true.
He was looking real small.
Like he was thin. I'm like, where's the muscle bound wrestling
body.
man?
Where
The
is
body?
old painless?
Yeah, it was not there. It did not show up.
Now he has time to bleed. He didn't before. But now he does.
That's the
Indeed.
name of his book. Yeah,
Well, he goes to Mexico to bleed mostly.
he does. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because he winters in Mexico apparently.
Go figure.
I've seen his house here.
No kidding.
Lots of fence, lots of signs that say he'll get shot.
No I wish I was surprised to say no kidding. Yes, of course.
And train tracks right there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, ooh, if a train goes by, it's going to be really fucking loud.
Yeah. There you go.
But anyways, Doug Bradley meeting.
Back to Doug.
How did we get back on this? This is from months ago.
Because it's
fucking
interesting. It's Doug Bradley. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, it was your fault.
It
But
probably was.
I think this is the first time that the three of us have talked about it together.
I think you're right.
That might be
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because yes, we did do a Crypticon episode like a month after it happened,
Yeah.
but we didn't really get in. Chris is here now and he's talking.
Busy
I was really, honestly, that was a pretty cool time. I mean, actually, the Minnesota.
You were there for
Crypticon-
20 minutes.
Here's the deal. All
Okay,
right.
give
Yeah.
us your opinion, please, Chris.
Of Minnesota
talk to us.
Crypticon, I was a little disappointed with the size of Minnesota Crypticon, to be honest with you, because it was like one ballroom.
girls say that to me all the
It was one ballroom near the Mall of America, again, near the airport at a hotel that I've never been to before. There's probably about 50 vendors, and I'm hoping it's going to be bigger, and it continues to grow in the
How many
future.
hotels do you go to?
You have no idea, buddy. I've spent a lot of time in hotel rooms, so put it that way. Woo. All right. So no, meeting Doug Bradley was awesome. I mean, as far as
Yeah,
the other people that were
prostitution's
there, it was fun. I had a good time. But yeah, no, I would go back. Honestly, like of all the people like that I've gotten to kind of not necessarily get to know, but become familiar with in the horror community, the one person that I would love to meet right now is Peter Atkins. Only because I think he's one of the most interesting people, one of the coolest people on Twitter that I followed in a while, because he's not afraid to call people out, but also posts worthwhile shit on Twitter, and is also I don't know if he's probably not listening right now necessarily, but is certainly like engaging with people. And
So,
is cool as
for
shit.
those that don't know, Peter Atkins is the famous writer of Hellraiser 2, 3, and 4, Wishmaster, and Fist of the North Star.
Yep. You just need to know that.
I love
Author,
how we
writer,
do this just for me.
dude
I fucking
dude
love
wrote
it.
Morning Star, which also ties into all this stuff like Nightbreed as well.
Yeah, I mean, he is a longtime friend, high school friend of Clive Barker, who is the creator of Hellraiser,
Yep.
Nightbreed, Lord of Illusions, everything, Horror Master, if you will,
Right.
etc. and so on. And I tried to get him to go to Crypticon, actually. I was talking to him
I'd love to meet him, seriously.
because he's a very accessible person, and he was just like, that's not my thing. I
That's too
do
bad.
author, because
Yep.
he is an author.
He is.
He writes.
Very talented writer. Yep.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
So he says he really only goes to festivals where like everyone congregates, where it's like Clive Barker, all the people involved with Hellraiser. He likes to do those sorts of conventions, but he's not just going to go to horror conventions for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But he's really funny. And actually, he will be a guest at some point in time on the show,
That's dope.
just so you know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
He is our first
celebrity.
and most like. We're excited for this.
I
Yeah.
hope I can be here that day when that happens.
Indeed.
I would love it.
And really, that comes from like, for those that haven't seen it, so you can catch a glimpse if you buy the special editions of Hellraiser 1 and 2 off of Era Video. They have a condensed version of Leviathan, the making of Hellraiser 1 and 2.
Yep.
If you're cool, you have that Leviathan, the making of Hellraiser 1, 2, and sort of 3. He's in that quite a bit. And he's very funny. He's very engaging. Is entertaining. He's probably the most excitable person in the entire like interview process.
And if I can say, his on if anybody's up to following on Twitter, Limey Bastard 55, he posts some cool stuff from time to time, like offset photos from some of the early Hellraiser movies that are definitely worth checking out. My favorite was a picture of his mom with Doug Bradley in pinhead makeup, like with her arms strapped around him. It was hilarious. So
Yeah,
check
he's
him
the
out.
most like he's funny. He's easy to talk to.
Yep.
We're like Doug, like I met him and like I talked to him and he was kind of like you can tell he's done it a million times and he's kind of has a very canned response to everything and he's like, "Where's the drinks after this?" Kind of like you know what I mean. Like he does it, he realizes that it's important, but he's not really engaging in the same way. And like the thing for me, like with Doug Bradley's presentation was like. I had heard all that shit like 10 years ago. Like there was nothing in what he was doing that was like new to me because he's been doing this shit through interviews and through. If you get like the DVD release of Hellraiser 1 from 15 years ago, he's telling the same shit from then.
Totally. Oh, even like that Doug Bradley Q&A that that he did at Crypticon. Like probably my highlight personally was when somebody threw out, so if Michael Myers and Pinhead got into a fight because there's going to be a movie one day, who would win? Well, of course he's going to say Pinhead. He's going to win the battle. But on the same hand, I think it was fun to hear that. But I can imagine too, it's not the first time he's gotten that question.
Well, no, because legitimately that was going to be a thing at some point in time.
Real deal. Yeah.
Was going to be Pinhead versus Michael Myers. But to me, it's like, how do you win a versus a demon?
Right. Yeah.
How do you there's no
Or Angel.
or
To
angel,
some.
whatever.
Depends on your
demon
opinion,
to some,
yeah.
angel to others, whatever.
Actually, you're right. Kyle,
Michael
that's
Myers,
brilliant.
no matter what, is still human. So I don't understand the
Humanish, we'll
conflict.
say. Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, Pinhead would just destroy Michael Myers. That's all there is to it.
He would look into the corner of the television screen, and then hooks would come and tear him apart.
Yeah, that'd be the end of Michael Myers right there. Just in case the listeners are wondering.
Yeah. It's a very simple conflict,
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
which is
yep,
very minimal, actually.
yep. Totally it. Totally it. I love it.
So anyways.
Anything else? Do you
There you
have
go.
anything else you need
I know
to
you need to
discuss?
wash your hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Get
I
that,
I
get
do
that
need to
Prel
wash my
out
hair.
and really
It's
massage it into the
disgusting.
scalp. Yeah.
So, this Thursday or Friday,
Friday.
we're going to be broadcasting North Innsbruck, Nick Vivid, and Unholy Rat King live on Nitrowave FM. So please tune in. That's going to be, when does that concert start?
I think doors are at 7. I was thinking it starts at 9, but 2 hours between doors and showtime.
Central
seems
time, by the way.
Central. Minnesota time, y'all.
Central American time.
Exactly.
As I know we have people listening who aren't in the States.
That's a good point right there. So right around 9
Hong
or
Kong
so
fans.
p.m. Central time, I believe. We'll definitely send some tweets out there just to let everybody know that things are going to get started, and we'll go from there. It'll be a cool show.
We won't be this drunk, I promise.
Yes.
This might have turned into a shit show, but
That's half the fun of Two Poor Bastards, though. You pay attention.
You never
to the
know
end of
where
the
it
show.
goes, because sometimes we're like fairly sober and cognizant.
it's been a long time since we had a really shitty show, though, too. So
It's true.
there's that.
You mean where you've gotten really shitty?
Really, really shitty.
Today was
maybe
close,
not for me,
but
Yeah.
at least for me it was close. But I got to drive home, so I got to
All right,
stop.
well, you can hang out for a bit. That's
Well,
cool.
yeah, I'm gonna drink my water and
Drink your water, hang
probably-
out for a little bit,
go
get
to the
ready.
bathroom.
be a little
I gotta eat
bitch.
dinner yet tonight too, so I gotta leave you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, thank you for listening. As always, we will be posting this in a condensed form on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff next Wednesday. So thank you again. This is Eric.
This is Kyle.
This is Chris.
Social medias.
Social
What
media,
up?
do it. Thank you.
Social.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. That's a fun show. People like the laughs. I think that's the most important part of the podcast. When you get into the laughs, people are like, "That's funny."
Attention, Two Poor Bastard listeners. We need your help. Funding your show is not cheap. We don't use sponsors, which means this show is 100% self-funded. We want to continue to bring you great content and drive new ways to engage with you as listeners. This includes merchandise, exclusive interviews, plus everything that makes this show what it is. Please help us by contributing to our Patreon page. There you'll find tiers of all levels and exclusive bonus content. And lastly, and mostly, we want to thank you, the listeners.